In this video, we are going to have a look at the Samyang or Rokinon 85mm f1.4 lens for the Canon or Nikon mirrorless cameras. Kia ora, good morning everyone, Rich Wong here. So first of all, I want to apologize if you are slightly confused by the title of this video because it is a little bit confusing. The lens I am reviewing today, I actually have two lenses here, but depends on how you look at it. It's basically either you can call it one lens or it can be up to four lenses. The reason is that it's the Samyang 85mm f1.4 lens for the Nikon or Canon mirrorless cameras. So they are virtually the same lens but with different mount on it. So there are two different lenses I have here, two physical different copy I have here. But the Samyang lenses are also sold under the other brand name, which is the Rokinon. Especially for the guys from US, I believe you will probably know about the Rokinon more than the Samyang. But the lens from these two companies are basically the same, just a different label on it. So I'm basically reviewing the new Samyang or Rokinon. I'm just going to call it Samyang now. I'm not going to call both names every time I mention it. The 85mm f1.4 lens. This is a manual focus lens, and this is the two new versions are especially for the Canon and the Nikon full frame mirrorless camera. So the one for the Canon is called the 85 1.4 RF, and the one for the Nikon is the 85 1.4 Z. Apart from the different lens mount and slightly different physical dimensions, these two lenses are pretty much exactly the same. They have the same optical formula, they have the same 8-curve aperture braid design. The biggest physical difference between these two lenses is that the manual focus ring, the travel direction is opposite. As you probably know that Nikon and Canon, they do have opposite direction when it comes to their manual focus ring travel direction. So everything I said in this video will apply to both versions of the lenses, even though some of the test photo or the sample photos were shot on one camera or the other camera. So let's talk about the build quality and the body design first. Compared to the previous Samyang manual focus lenses, which is usually quite plasticky and also looks and feel a little bit cheap, these two lenses are completely different. They have a brand new design. They look a lot more modern and the build quality is a lot better. It's very nice feeling. For example, the manual focus ring feels buttery smooth. The body is mostly made of metal, so when you hold it in your hand, it definitely feels a lot more premium than the previous Samyang manual focus lenses. The design of the lens is pretty simple, but it's not in a bad way. So there is a mechanical aperture ring here. It has clicks, so it's great for a photographer like me. And then above that, then there is a manual focus ring. The manual focus ring, as I just mentioned before, it feels buttery smooth, and there's a hard stop when you reach the end of the focus range. Both versions of the lens doesn't have any CPU chip or electronic contact on it. So if you look at it, there is no CPU contact at all. So it is basically a dumb lens, as some people call it. So that means when you are taking photos, the camera wouldn't know what sort of aperture are you shooting, and therefore after you shot the photos, the EXIF data wouldn't have the aperture value recorded on the file as well. As you can see, the lens comes with a lens hook, and it is a reversible design as well, so you can just quickly remove it from the lens and then reverse it. So this is great when you want to put it back into the camera bag. However, there's one thing that I don't really like is that once the lens hook is in the reverse position, your hand or your fingers cannot reach the manual focus ring at all. It completely blocks off the whole manual focus ring. So what it means is if you have the camera in the camera bag and you saw something, if you want to take a quick photo, then you have to remove the lens hook, because otherwise your fingers just cannot reach the manual focus ring at all. So this is a slight inconvenience when you want to take your camera out for a quick photo or two. The focus ring's end-to-end travel distance is just about 100 degrees, so that allows you to quickly do the transition from a far to near focus distance. Personally, I would prefer if the focus ring travel distance is slightly longer, which allows me to have slightly more precise control of the manual focus. But no matter what, manual focus is actually very easy no matter you are using the Canon or the Nikon full frame mirrorless camera, because with the EVF and also the visual assist such as the peaking and magnification, manual focus is just very easy, quick and precise. Oh, and the lens also has weather seal, which allow you to take photo or video even under bad weather condition. The minimum focus distance of the lens is 1.1 meter, which is slightly longer than most other 85 1.4 lenses in the market. A lot of them, the minimum focus distance is only 85 centimeter or so. So that means when you are taking like a headshot portrait, then you may have to step back like 1 or 2 more steps before you can manage to focus successfully on your subject. Okay, now let's talk about the image quality, and as usual start with the image sharpness. The center sharpness is already very good at f1.4, and if you stop down to f2, then you gain a little bit more image sharpness, but stop down any further, the image sharpness is pretty much the same, because at f2 the image sharpness is already very good. And if you look at the corners, it is very similar. At f1.4, the corner sharpness is also already very good. So if you really care about corner sharpness, you may have to stop down to f2. But anything from f2.8 onwards, the corner sharpness is pretty much the same. With the 85mm focal length and the large f1.4 aperture, it's quite easy to melt the background. The bouquet looks quite nice with very beautiful, very soft fall off at the edge. However, in some of the photos, I do notice a little bit of onion pattern, and also when you start stopping down the lens, the outline of the bouquet does turn into a straight line quite quickly. At maximum aperture f1.4, vignetting is noticeable, but it's not serious at all. And once you stop down to f2, then the vignetting becomes a lot better. Anything from f2.8 onwards, vignetting is virtually unnoticeable even if your photo has a plain background. Distortion is also very well controlled. Look at this sample photo, you can see virtually no distortion at all. Lens flare is also very well controlled. I have shot a lot of photos directly into the sun, some very strong light source, and I never really see any crazy lens flare, and the contrast remains very good no matter what sort of photo I'm taking. I do see a little bit of ghosting in some of the photos, but it's not serious at all. Pretty much everything we talked about so far in terms of image quality is very good for this Samyang 85 f1.4 lens, but if there is one weakness for this lens, it would be the chromatic aberration. When I'm taking photo of some high contrast scene at the maximum aperture 1.4, quite often I will see quite a bit of color fringing. I see quite a bit of purple and green color fringing. While I definitely wouldn't call it horrible, it does remind me of some of the older fast prime lens that I've used in the past. Fortunately, stop down the lens a little bit does help minimize the color fringing. Otherwise, you have to rely on post-processing to remove the color fringing. I understand that manual focus lens is probably not suitable for everyone, so no matter how good a manual focus lens is, some people would just not really be interested in it. But if the reason why you are not interested in manual focus lens is just because you have not tried one before, or you had some bad experience before, probably because you tried it with a DSLR and a lot of your photos turns out not in focus, then I would highly recommend you to give it a try again, because if you're watching this video, you probably would have one of the Canon or the Nikon full frame mirrorless camera, which has the EVF, you have peaking, you have magnification. With all these tools, manual focus is actually very easy, even if you are shooting with this lens at the maximum aperture f1.4. Of course, if you are shooting a fast moving target, then manual focus is always a bit tricky. But with this kind of lens, I would assume you're buying it to shoot some nice portrait where your subject will be standing still or moving at a very slow speed. Then in that case, manual focus with this lens is actually a lot easier than you would have thought. And if you are really interested in trying out some manual focus lenses, I think this Samyang 85 1.4 lens would be a very good choice as your first manual focus lens. And there are many reasons why I say that. The first one is the price of this lens is very affordable. And not only that, the build quality and the image quality of this lens is also very good. I really love the new design of this Samyang manual focus lens compared to the old one, which feel quite plasticky and quite cheap. This one is just feel a lot more premium, a lot more modern, and it matches the design of the new Nikon and Canon full frame mirrorless camera very well. With the buttery smooth manual focus ring and also the mechanical aperture ring, it just feels fantastic when you are taking photo with this lens. Image quality wise, I think the chromatic aberration is definitely a bit more than what I like to see. But apart from that, pretty much everything else is pretty decent, from the image sharpness from center all the way to corner, the bokeh, the distortion, the lens flare. Especially if you consider the price, the image quality is actually very good. So if you got a Canon full frame mirrorless camera or a Nikon full frame mirrorless camera, and if you are interested in doing a bit of portrait photography but you don't want to spend the full price for a Canon or the Nikon 85 1.4 lens, then I think this Samyang 85 1.4 lens would be a very affordable way for you to have a nice portrait lens in your camera bag. So what do you guys think about this Samyang 85 f1.4 lens? Do you agree with my comment that this lens is a very affordable way for you to add a portrait lens to your camera kit? Thank you very much for watching this video, and hopefully I'll see you again soon in my next video.